Another question which we could ask is, will we create a barrier to entry? Creation of a barrier to entry is always a good thing, because what is a barrier to entry? A barrier to entry prevents competitors from coming into your industry. That is a good thing. Now, let's take a garment manufacturer, a manufacturer of garments, shirts and trousers and garments like that. Now, this garment manufacturer, if it decides to enter weaving, so that they make the cloth themselves, the cloth that they use is made by them. Now, this gives them a particular edge which is difficult for a competitor to beat unless he also goes in for weaving. Okay? So, this is a vertical integration scheme which is good for the company. So, when we look at vertical integration schemes, we need to ask these kind of questions. We ask whether the market for the final product is growing or is it declining. Take PC manufacturer, a personal computer, a desktop computer manufacturer like HCL. Okay? Now, what is happening with desktop computers today? Slowly, the market for desktop computers, market for PCs is maturing, and gradually it will decline because the market is shifting to mobile devices. It is shifting to smartphones, for instance, right? Okay. In that event, is it good for the PC manufacturer, the desktop manufacturer, to make chipboards, which is one product that goes into the desktop? No, it's not a good idea, because the market for desktops itself is saturated, and within the next 10 years will start declining. In this event, why further invest in products into that market? Okay, so this is the vertical integration idea, which is not good. Then, what about economies of scale? Okay, let's say we have a book publisher like the Oxford OUP, Oxford University, Press in India. It's a book publisher. Now, a book publisher entering printing, it doesn't do printing today. It uses other printers. Now, entering printing is a bad idea because it will be doing limited amount of printing, and the costs of printing will be high. It makes much more sense for a publisher to use a regular printer who will print at a much lower rate. So this is the vertical integration idea, which is not a good idea. So these are the kinds of questions that we need to ask if the strategic option that we are going to choose is one of vertical integration. Now, suppose the strategic option that we are going to choose is one of unrelated diversification. You will recall in one of our earlier sessions where we had handled unrelated diversification, it is the kind of thing that ITC has done. ITC was initially into hotels, and then from there it went into several other products like paper and consumer products, right? So from tobacco to hotels to paper to consumer products is unrelated diversification. The question we need to ask is, does it spread risk? Take the example of a cement company. Okay, now for the cement company, what is the biggest risk for the cement company? The biggest risk is that the housing market will flatten out. That the housing market will flatten out or will decline in the next say 2-3 years. If for 2-3 years the housing market declines, then the cement manufacturer is affected. Suppose the cement manufacturer gets into housing finance. The housing finance market is also dependent upon the same customer behavior. Now, customer behavior is unpredictable in that market. Therefore, whether it is manufacturing cement or whether it is in housing finance, it's both dependent on the same customer behavior, and therefore it's not spreading risks at all. Therefore, it's a bad idea. Okay, let's look at another instance where we have a car component maker, let's say a gear manufacturer for cars, deciding to enter the manufacture of components for the railways. Okay, is this a good idea? Now, this is again unrelated diversification, because there is nothing really in common between these two. But what we need to ask is this car component manufacturer entering a more profitable sector by going in for this diversification? Today he is in a car component manufacturing sector. The car companies are his customers. That's one kind of situation. Tomorrow the Indian Railways is going to be his customer. Now, is it better to have the Indian Railways as a customer or to have car companies as customers? I think the answer is obvious. So, here this is again a bad idea. This vertical integration is a bad idea. This unrelated diversification is a bad idea. Now, another question to ask is the present business unattractive? See, if the present business is not unattractive, then why not invest more in the present business? Why go for unrelated diversification, right? So, you have a TV manufacturer today, okay? If he says that he is considering a strategic option to make car electronic products, is that a good idea? That's again unrelated diversification, right? He's in the consumer products business. He's planning to enter car electronics. Okay, is that a good idea? No, it isn't, because as a TV maker today, he is catering. He is in a particular market which is a rapidly growing market and will continue to be a rapidly growing market for the foreseeable future in India, with increasing numbers of people entering the consumption sector for TVs. Therefore, to leave that and enter a market like the automobile market, which is much more risky, is not a good idea at all, right?